Abusia yin cha on so mo akwa ba me channel so had so I be media GH. Abusia be media GH fast akonya we so and obi biara abusia since day one mo na support and abusia ayade a 10 of we ata. Yes, your former finance minister. Yes, Papa ya Ghana for just say tam oman sika sem edition nsa. Na abusia enade ensem na ba abonten. Papa alleged about to just say Papa is seeking for a U.S. permanent resident. Yes. Papa a person or J na otena USA abonten so na chese otena ho permanently. Na dia na si dia na ba. Abusia ene eyade an lawyers aba abonten ba be silence wo ho a. Chese omo echo mo nsemu a. Ne permanent stay ya opre ewo ya USA no. Abusia enka legal matters ho eho kind of we ata onoa ne personal issue. Yes. Onoa ne personal issue enka legal matters and now I just say enka extradition process no enka bibia ho abusia we dey ma make so pese ya yekọ na yetie enkomunimu ye. Yes. Yentie enkomunimu ye na sese ha eda so aye be media jecham so be se wase ene dey community channel so need no bu kwan so ye be se wase be subscribe like na abusia wa bo aso ahye wa person be tie no anya bi atie aha eda so aye be media jech edamase
Ken Nanaya kunkunkun ofuriata finally the lawyers ababonten ababe break silence on the permanent residency or pese o stay ewo US abonten so na nensema odi to dwa no o kire say ne permanent stay na o pese o stay ewo US no eno no personal problem and as a personal issue na enfa illegal matters no ne de extradition request a Ghana for ya file e de ama US for no and as a US Interpol for no abusia sa legal matters no koso and the permanent stay ne de personal issue a Ken Oforiata or pese o stay US abonten ona ne lawyer no ode ensem ne tudwa no oto bomb bi e de kire OSP kisi ejabe na busia Mami yanko na yanko tie ensema Ken Nanaya kunkunkun ne lawyer no nsema ode tuda efa ne permanent residency a echese opese o stay US abonten so ene ensem bia oka erefa abusuya unsubscribe ya subscribe na hit on the notification bell so na be any update be drop no wonso wonsa ebetumi akabi aha.
Start the bulletin from here. Former Finance Minister Ken Oforiata began pursuing permanent residency in the United States. His lawyers have confirmed to US-based outlet. Now, Ken Oforiata, who faces corruption-related charges in Ghana, is currently being held in a detention facility operated by US Immigration and Customs Enforcement in Virginia after his arrest in January for overstaying his visa. His lawyers argue he may not receive a fair trial in Ghana. Joining us now is lawyer Frank Davis, a member of the legal team representing the former Finance Minister Ken Oforiata. Counsel, thank you for joining us. Good evening to you. Let's start with this. And first things first, if we're looking at the trajectory of the case, you're representing the former Finance Minister. Talk to us about this. So there is confirmation of this application for permanent residency.
Good evening to your cherished listeners and esteemed viewers. In the first place, that publication, whatever you have read, is what is coming from Ken's lawyers in the United States, I gather. Is that the case?
That's the case, Counsel.
Okay. So I think it will be best placed to leave the American lawyers to deal with that matter, because the decision to come to Ghana is a personal one. It's not legal. The decision, if even Ken has made up his mind to seek permanent residency status in America, is a personal decision. It's not a legal one. So I think the American lawyers should be allowed to deal with that matter. We are dealing with the matter as it unfolds in Ghana. But let me just take the scene. You know, when this red notice alert was flying high by the office of the special prosecutor, at the end of the day, the Commission for the Control of Interpol Files came out with a very definitive decision. It was to the effect that they thought all that books was one of a predominantly political character. I believe you are aware.
Mm-hmm.
And that
right.
is why Ken's name was pulled down and it was deleted from all Interpol's files and systems information. They said the challenge data that the National Central Bureau of Interpol Ghana presented did not meet with Interpol's rules, regulations, and constitution. And it was of a predominantly political nature. I'm quoting them verbatim, not my words. So, I mean, that should inform all of us. And I think I'll pass no other comment than what I've said.
So, Counsel, are all of these informing what your client is seeking for in the United States at the moment?
I have told you that the decision to seek permanent residency in the United States is a personal one. It's not a legal decision. So let us leave that route for the American lawyers and the American courts to determine. All right? In any event, I think the government of Ghana has put in an extradition request.
True.
And if I understand what that means, there sure is going to be extradition proceedings. And pursuant to those proceedings, a decision will be made one way or the other whether Ken should be deported from the United States or he should be allowed to remain. All I know is that he has applied for an adjustment of his immigration status. So let us just wait for what would come out of those proceedings. So I believe that there is, I don't think there is anything so worrying about what is going on. There's an extradition request, so let us see through that process.
Right. Counsel, there's still this concern that lingers, that your client is concerned over the independence of the Ghanaian judiciary and claims of a political witch hunt. My question to you on this will be that, what is fueling the concern of the lack of independence of the judiciary? Is it the utterances or the actions of some key stakeholders in the matter?
I am a trained lawyer, and it does not lie in my mouth. It does not fit in my place to round down the judiciary, okay? As to whether the judiciary is independent or not. It's a matter that you also have to judge. Don't let it come out of my mouth. I don't think that it is really necessary for me to pass any judgment on the judiciary. But when things happen and journalists like yourself refuse to talk about them, it creates problems. We are all in this country, okay? Ken had not been charged with one single offense. He had not been charged. Listen to me carefully. He had not been charged with one single offense. Okay, the Office of the Assistant Prosecutor rushes to court with this red notice alert whatever, without even having charged Ken with a single offense or not having taken any caution statement, charge statement, anything at all from him. And the Office of the Assistant Prosecutor rushes to court and then comes out flagging a red notice alert on Ken, declared him a fugitive from justice. He did not obtain that warrant or whatever he got from the Makola market. He went to the law court. You are all in this country, generally. You said nothing. At the end of the day, we were embarrassed by the Commission for the Control of Interpol files, because whatever the office of the Special Prosecutor did at the end of the day, it did not meet with Interpol's rules, regulations, and constitutions. That should be a concern for all of us as Ghanaians. And I rather hope that you journalists will trumpet that one. Okay, as to whether the judiciary is independent or not should be your own guardian, not mine.
Right.
But we're in this country. The Office of the Special Prosecutor did not go to the Makola market. He went to court.
My last question to you on the subject matter will be this, that what you say to those who insist that, I mean, like you've mentioned, Mr. Ofori-Atta has not been charged and that he should just come to the country, face the law. If he is innocent, he walks a free man, and that all he's doing right now is he's attempting to evade accountability. What would be your response to that?
Listen to me once again and listen to me carefully. You know, when you people pass those other loose generalization of statements, I become very offended. Did Ken leave this country without notice? Was the office of the Special Secretary not in this country when Ken left?
He was. He indeed notified the chief of staff.
Was Kenneth not in this country? Was Kisei Jabe not in this country? Or for that matter, the office of the Special Secretary not in this country when Ken left the country with notice to the former chief of staff and the present chief of staff? Was he not in this country? Now, if Kisei Jabe or that office had anything at all that they thought they were investigating against Ken, they couldn't do it at that time. They couldn't do it at that time because what? They were dark? Is that what they're saying? In any event, when Ken left and this matter unfolded, he tried through the team of lawyers to make himself available for interrogation with legally permissible means. The office of the Special Secretary didn't want to have anything to do with it. He was insisting on an in-person interview with Kenneth Ofori-Atta, whether he wanted to dance with him, whether he wanted to eat with him, whether he wanted to play football with him, only God knows. But Kenneth made himself available through legally permissible means.
Right.
Rebuffed those means. So what again do you expect him to do? At that time, he had not been charged with any offense.
Counsel,
and you mean if he has to go and seek medical treatment, he shouldn't go?
Thank you.
Is that what you're saying?
Thank you. Thank you so much for your time with us. Lawyer Frank Davis, he is a legal team member of the Ken Ofori-Atta legal team.
Let's do some other stories now. An executive secretary to President Mahama, Callistus Mahama, says conflict of interest questions raised over the president's use of his brother's jet are fair, revealing the issue has not been taken lightly within the presidency. In a widely published article, he explains that the suggestion that the president could fly commercial is not always feasible, especially when the travel involves intercontinental engagements or tight schedules. He further clarifies that the decision on how the president will embark on official international flights is a complex one laced with security protocols, diplomatic engagement, communication systems, and the ability of the president to function as executive authority even outside the jurisdiction. Let me share highlights of that piece with you. And it reads, some Ghanaians have raised concerns about the use of an aircraft belonging to the president's brother for official presidential travel. The most frequently expressed concern is whether such an arrangement could give rise to a perception of a conflict of interest. It's a fair question. He further states, in a democratic society, citizens are not only entitled to ask such questions, they are duty-bound to do so. Public life is healthiest where scrutiny is vigorous and where those entrusted with authority remain conscious that trust is both earned and fragile. In that spirit, the concerns deserve reflection rather than dismissal. The issue has not been taken lightly within the presidency. What the public often sees is the aircraft taking off or landing. What is less visible is the difficult balance that must constantly be between practicality, security, cost, and national dignity when a president travels. Presidential travel is unlike any form of travel. It's not merely a journey from one city to another. It carries with it layers of responsibility, security protocols, diplomatic engagements, communication systems, and the simple but critical requirement that the head of state remains able to function as the executive authority of the republic, even while thousands of kilometers away from Accra. So those are highlights of that article written by the Executive Secretary to the President, Callistus Mahama. Let's now engage Professor Enoch Opoku-Antwi. He's an expert in governance and leadership. Grateful for your time this evening, Prof. So the President's Executive Secretary paints a picture of what happens behind the scenes and says this is not just a random decision that is taken. He actually highlights the President prioritizing public financial management over convenience. Should this bring finality to the matter?
Good evening and greetings to your viewers everywhere in the world. I think the letter written by Dr. Callistus Mahama is really in its right perspective, but it should not bring finality to the issue because the core issue of the presidential fleet has not been resolved yet. The challenge is that, ours is a democratic governance, and that means power is held by people through voting. And that means citizens must be involved in any public, economic, social, foreign, fiscal, or even any monetary policy. So this one is a technical policy. And if you're talking about technical policy, we go to the basis of it. Now, I have tried to explain this, and let me make it clear on TV3 today that any policy that is not morally framed is flawed. I repeat again, any policy that is not morally framed is flawed. So even if we are talking about unemployment and we are framing the policy based on economic, it's flawed. Talk about if somebody is not employed, what morally they will do. They will do love scam, they will do sakawa, they will do any other immoral things. So we frame big policies based on moral issues. Now let's come to the basics. The president or the presidential area, the executive, don't have a travel jet yet. Now the president brother gives his private jet $70 million to the president to travel. And the question is there a plausible conflict of interest? The answer is yes.
Okay, abusuya wene ensema ekoso ewo political highway so Ken Oforiata na HSA ya de no latest update at the brema enye asam keto akra unsubscribe ya subscribe na hit on the notification bell so na be any updates be drop no wonsa ebetumi akabi medamase.